We're here with Adobe's Bill Roberts, who they have some big news this year. They just today announced Creative Suite 6, so some pretty exciting pieces to the tools now. Hoping you could just start with maybe Premiere, maybe run us through the pieces,
Sure.
What's new,
Yeah.
what's been existing, and then walk us through some of the new stuff.
Yeah, so it is actually probably the biggest drop of technology we've done in a decade in terms of getting new stuff out there, as well as updating all the products. So, the two pieces are really the existing products that people, know and love, take a huge step forward. One of the big ones is Premiere now with an absolutely beautiful UI focused on tasks and a number of feature enhancements, things like After Effects now, up to 70% faster with the global performance cache and new 3D tools. So those things all have gone forward, but we've also added in new products to the suite. So as file-based has really become the predominant way of working, we've replaced On Location with a brand new product, Prelude, which allows people to ingest their content and not only tag it, but provide temporal metadata. So this is something that people have really responded to well, and it's actually a platform that can integrate into workflows. That's huge. The other big piece is, I think, last time we had a chat was IBC, and we just completed the Iridas acquisition at that point. So we're really pleased to drop in SpeedGrade now with an entirely fresh new UI, and also our first steps at a really slick workflow to get you out of Premiere and into SpeedGrade. So the whole suite has just changed in a monumental way with this release.
Well, it's pretty impressive that you were able to do that with speed. I mean, September is when you purchased the company, so that must have been a challenge. How did that work?
Well, I think it's one of those things when you try to bring people into an organization. We brought in this team, and we knew they were good, but the incredible passion and talent that they had, they just kept pushing further and further and further and further and asking, can we have another day to do this, another day to do this? So it wasn't just about getting the product in. They actually really, it was, we didn't set the bar as high as they pushed it. So let's put it that way.
So do you want to, I know After Effects, you were saying that it's the biggest upgrade in 10 years, would you say?
Yeah, so so the creative tools, the way that what the team did is they kind of split. So part of the team worked on a 2-year cycle, and that did all the caching piece. And it's not as sexy in terms of what does it mean to make new pixels, but what it does is it makes sure that anything that's been calculated in the software never has to get recalculated if you make a change that doesn't affect it. So that's huge. And there's also the persistent disk cache. So we did our thing yesterday with Steve Wozniak and Rob Legato, and we just showed how much these new storage technologies can empower and speed things up. So a typical user just goes a lot faster with that. So that's the under the hood piece. So that took a lot of time. The piece that worked for 2 years is really adding a 3D environment to After Effects with ray casting. So if you want to work with 3D objects now, you can get reflections, occlusions, all the things that you associate with very high-end content. But we focused on the needs of motion graphics people, VFX people who work with Illustrator files, text files. So it's just about taking those things and simply expanding them. It's not about being a modeler. It's not about animating. It's about making those things work really quickly in a VFX environment. So people have just been blown away by the results that people are able to produce during the beta cycle of that. So that is huge. So we're delighted on that front to have this massive release.
Yeah. So what if you had to pick the top 3 things in After Effects that people should know about now? I mean, in addition to the speed increase and the 3D, anything else?
Well, I think on the 3D side, the ease of use is something that's really interesting because VFX is so complex. So one of the things that we've introduced, which builds upon the warp stabilizer, so we did that last year. Under the hood, that created a 3D point cloud. So the team took that, and one of the things that's just absolutely gorgeous and easy to use is a brand new 3D tracker that just automatically pulls out a 3D scene and allows people with a really innovative UI to parent things in 3D space to these objects. And combined with things such as the roto brush, people now can do compositing that in the past would have taken hours in minutes. So it's really cool just to fight. It's one of those things you watch and go, I could do that, and that's just a great feeling when people can do something more than they anticipated when they sat down in the software.
So you want to dig into Premiere now?
Yeah, so Premiere, so we've made a lot of buzz over the past 2 release cycles, 5 and 5.5, about the Mercury playback engine, which was great, because today we're dealing with all the different formats. You've got to do all this complex work, so we had this incredible engine. But what happened is when you were working on that system, there were still things in the old UI which were tied to the past. Our monitors were native 4x3. We had a lot of things that the playback would stop. all those things, when you change stuff in the UI, all that's gone. So we've revamped so many areas. The ones people really respond to well is a whole new, fresh new UI. We've also made it, if you're keyboard driven, you can remove all the buttons on the screen to put more of a focus on the media. An incredible new way to browse your media, mark in and outs, and organize your content.
But could you go, if you're comfortable with the way it was, can you go back?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, if you want the old view, whoop,
Okay.
it's actually, we kept that there. So there's no, we're not pushing you into a new world, but we'd rather entice you into this new world.
Right.
So we've changed the whole way that the application goes. It just flows and works so much better. Al Mooney, who's a much better, more eloquent spokesperson on this topic for me, calls it the rhythm of editing. So it just keeps people in that flow. And we realize that editing is the space where you spend, up to 16 hours a day just hammering away. So every little nuance has received focus. But we've also done a lot of feature work as well. So multicam. So we've seen how we can support N cameras. We can support as many cameras as you could possibly throw at it, but we've, in reality, we've optimized the workflow, for 4, 9, 16 cameras. Like so, we have all these views now, but we can support multicam exceptionally well. Trimming is a huge leap forward. It's something that is the lifeblood of editing. So you throw stuff down, and quite often you want to make an L or a J cut. You just want to change something, and you want to do it quickly. You can manipulate it in the timeline, but we've also come up with a UI which is perhaps the most capable trimming interface in the world, but it's simple. And what's nice is, as we went through the cycle, we all had a lot of angst and cycles to make sure it was like that. But when we put it out in the community, I actually started seeing this is the best trimming I've seen on Twitter, which was just wonderful to see when you do something and people, you achieved your goal, and people have validated that. So trimming is there. It's just a release where you can sit down and edit and love editing, revamp to audio, track parenting, the stuff that gets us into the way people have to deliver now for playback servers, especially if you're doing multi-language. You can put audio tracks where you need them, multiple places. It's just, the depth of features is incredible.
Having seen just a little bit about it, I know the thumbnail previews were pretty exciting, where you actually could see the clips.
Oh, exactly. So we started off with that. So we made them, first of all, you can make as big as you want. So if you think about, Lightroom, everybody loved the fact you could have a thumbnail that was the size of, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper if your screen was big enough. So we've taken that approach to it, but we've also made it so you can hover scrub. So as you go across, you can see the content. You can also bring up a small player. You can mark ins and outs inside of that. So you can do all of this stuff in your media browser, which makes it so much more easier to organize your work. So what that allows people to do, if you've got a whole bunch of rushes, you can move through it so quick, mark all your ins and outs, and be ready to edit so much faster. So what we're trying to do is, just sort of listen to what people are saying, be innovative in our UI iterations, but really task focused. So it's, it is new, but it's really focused on what people do, so people just gravitate to it very comfortably.
And audio features too. I know that you've introduced a couple of new audio features in it.
Well, I think one of the nice things we're able to do, it is a suite, but we have so much shared technology, so we're able to lean on a lot of the stuff that we did in Audition in the last cycle. So we've really improved metering across the board. We've revamped the whole mixer. So the nice thing on the mixer too is it's the little things I sort of find. So you make a level change and you realize you got the wrong track, double click and it's back to normal. It's all these little things that just speed it up, but audio is completely revamped. I mentioned previously the track parenting, the track movement. So I think it's just all the things you do day to day. That's what we've focused on. It's just, let's take away the pain. Let's take away the second lost here, the 2 seconds lost there. Let's just make it so you can fly through work. And that's what people are liking. It's just, it is the right front end now for the Mercury playback engine we put underneath the hood. So the front end now is as fast as the back end.
When will it be available, and can you talk anything about upgrades, people that may be using 5 or 5.5 or?
So we're not publicly announcing, when this is a reveal we've done here.
Okay.
So we haven't done the formal launch. So that we want, NAB is so important to Adobe that you can't, have this in the hopper and come here and show last year's stuff. You got to be here, and we're on an annual cadence. So we stated that last year as we started to move into subscription on an annual cadence. So we're not announcing the date, but we're on an annual cadence. Look at when we released last year; it won't be too far off of that. For people who are upgrading, it's very straightforward. If you actually, if you buy in today, we have a promo that you can actually make sure you have 6. So if you're a new customer buying today, we'll make sure when 6 comes out, because you can't show this and say, aha, you don't get it though.
Yeah.
So we're making sure if you make an investment now, you can do that. The upgrade is there. Another interesting thing we've done is last year we started subscription, but this year we've gone full in. So you've probably heard about what we call the Creative Cloud. So the Creative Cloud is a new way to get the software now. So we've really pushed forward not only on the business model, but really using the cloud to deliver software. So on the subscription side now, We have a range of offerings. So the anchor point is kind of like if you're a new user, $49 a month, you could get everything that was in Master Collection, not just Production Premium, delivered to you via the web, and you stay consistently up to date. You have 20 gigs of cloud storage. So it's really a new way to work. You know, for video people, they just love this. You've got this space where you can share content through that window, but having access to the full range of tools at that price point is it's pretty aggressive. So we're excited by that, and we've had nothing but tremendous positive feedback about the business model, but also using the web to deliver the tools, and not in the video space so much now, but other segments we've delivered end-to-end workflows. So if you want to publish a website now, you can do everything through the cloud. So it's really a nice step forward.
Do you want to touch a bit more on Prelude?
Sure. So Prelude, it's one of those ones that, you start saying, hey, it's a tool for logging and ingest. So you don't go, wow, that's exciting, all right.
But it's so necessary.
Well, this is what happens, is you start the dialogue about how we built it and what it does, and people actually do start to get excited. So the challenge we have in any modern media enterprise, you do have this shared storage infrastructure, but people are coming back with little cards. And they need to get all that stuff onto the system. This allows to do that quickly, simply, with transcoding, temporal metadata, whatever you need, and it's a platform that can integrate. So you can put your own MAM underneath it and your own metadata. So it's simple, simple, simple to get exactly the metadata you need into your production flow and your media in the format you need.
It's fantastic. I think we actually have to wrap up, but I know. Quickly, anything else that we need to know?
No, come and see us. We'll show you all the wonderful stuff, and thank you so much.
Okay, good one.
Bill.
Okay, cheers.
Bill Roberts, Adobe. We'll be back shortly. Thanks so much.